something be done about it so that he can complete that project. And thank you very much, really, for having it restarted, because it stalled some time ago. Yeah, soon. Then there is a Kedhombwani market in Kitui Town. Your Excellency, we thank you for instructing the PS Housing sometime in 2025 to work with our county towards the financing and completion of the said market. The other project is the Yenziu River Bridge, a critical project initiated after the December 4th, 2021 tragedy that claimed over 30 lives. And the other one is a project which has been started, which is Wikililia Kavisuni Thwake to Thwake Dam. There are a number of other projects which are listed here, but because in the interest of time, I will not go through them. We believe, Your Excellency, you will be visiting us very soon as you had planned. We are going to put the projects which were proposed by the leadership in this county, that is members of parliament, as well as members of the county assembly. And I know it will not be good for me to go through all of them. Your Excellency, we acknowledge that you had initially planned to visit Kitui last week to launch several development projects across the country. This would have accorded the leadership of the people and the people of the county a valuable opportunity to meet and discuss some of the development priorities of our county with you. However, in light of the passing of the former Prime Minister, you called off all scheduled public engagement as a mark of respect to our departed hero, a gesture for which we commend you highly. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I wish to take this opportunity to thank the Mashujaa Day technical and steering committees, which were led by Mr. Makori and PS Raymond Omondolo, respectively, and as well as the regional commissioner and the county commissioner and the county security committee, for the way we have worked closely, consulting and solving any problem which arises in a very amicable way. Let me reaffirm our shared commitment towards the implementation of projects that positively transform the lives of our people. And may this Mashujaa Day rekindle our spirit of service, patriotism, and unity as we build a stronger, more prosperous Kenya. Thank you, Your Excellency. Asante ni sana. God bless Kitui. God bless Kenya. Asante.
Tumpongeze tena kwa makofi Governor Dr. Julius Malombe. Kwa sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba unipe ruhusa nimkaribishe His Excellency the Deputy President of this great nation, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali akija. Karibu sana Naibu wa Rais.
Your Excellency President William Ruto, Your Excellency First Lady Rachel Ruto, Your Excellency President Faye, President of the Republic of Senegal, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Mozambique, fellow Kenyans, we gather here today on this Mashujaa Heroes Day to remember, reflect, and consider where our country has come from. Your Excellency, Sir, as you continue to lead us in this reflection, we continue to remember the many people who have sacrificed their time, their lives, and their comfort for our freedom. And even at this time, as we continue to mourn the departure of our former Prime Minister, one of the greatest Kenyans to ever walk on our soil. We remember many more, those who have gone before us for selflessly protecting our sovereignty, defending our dignity, and emancipating the black person from colonial domination, for expanding our political rights and freedom, and then expanding and perfecting our democracy. What remains is now to strengthen the foundations of our country, perfect the economic well-being of the people of our country, and as you lead us, Your Excellency, the future of Kenya looks certainly good because of the labor that those who came before us have put, and because of the labor that you continue to put, Your Excellency, and putting us together, even as we take the vision of our forefathers forward. Baito muyaseo, baito muyaseo, muyaseo enge, muyaine museo, na mavira ode. Your Excellency, the President, today is not my day. My task is very simple. My task is to ask you, Your Excellency, sir, to address the nation on this very special day in the history of our country. Mr. President, welcome. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais.
Asante sana. Ndugu wana wa Kitui, hamjambo? Kitui hoye! Mbaito muyaseo! Muyaseo inge! Muyaine museo! Na mavinda onde! Muyaiata iwe! Bwana Yesu asifiwe! Hebu nione kwa mikono. Bwana Yesu asifiwe! Asanteni sana, tunaweza kuketi chini. Your Excellency, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, President of Senegal. Your Excellency, Madam Adriano Alfonso Melaine, Prime Minister of Mozambique. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens, before I make my statement, wakati tulikubaliana na tukaamua ya kwamba sherehe ya Mashujaa mwaka wa 2025 itafanyika hapa Kitui kwa mara ya kwanza. Nilitafuta marafiki na leo tuko na bahati ya kuwa na rais wa Senegal, nchi rafiki, nchi ya Kenya. Ametutembelea sio tu Kenya, lakini ametutembelea hapa Kitui siku ya leo. Na vile vile nilimuuliza rafiki wetu mwingine, rais wa Mozambique, na kwa heshima kubwa alikuwa na shughuli nyingi, lakini ametuma Prime Minister wa nchi ya Mozambique na yuko hapa Kitui pamoja na sisi. Jameni, mnawakaribisha hawa marafiki zetu? Mnawakaribisha hawa wageni wetu? Wapi nduru ya hawa wageni wetu jameni, watu wa Kitui? Kweli naona mmewakaribisha. Wacha nimualike in a very special way my brother Faye on behalf of the government and people of Kenya. We don't take it for granted that you have taken time out of your busy schedule at home to come and visit us and participate in this national celebration, not necessarily in our capital city, but in our town of Kitui. We don't take it for granted, Mr. President, and the people of Kitui sincerely appreciate that you have made time to come all the way. I will now request you, Mr. President, to make some remarks as we celebrate our Heroes' Day here in Kitui in Kenya. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my dear brother William Ruto, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Kenyan government, honorable members of the National Assembly and Senate, honorable members of Judiciary, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Honorable County Governor of Kitui, ladies and gentlemen, habari za asubuhi. Before I begin, I would like first to take this opportunity to renew the heartfelt condolences of the people of Senegal to the brotherly people of Kenya on the passing of Mr. Raila Odinga, a former Prime Minister and a great leader in the political history of Kenya. I pay tribute to the memory of the illustrious departed and express my deep compassion to President Ruto, to his family, and to the people of Kenya. May his soul rest in peace. I would like to thank President Ruto for the warm welcome and all the attention we accorded to me and my delegation since our arrival in this brotherly country, home to the wonders of Masai Mara and Kilimanjaro. I am here in the invitation of my brother, President William Ruto, as a guest of honor on this day celebrating Kenyan heroes. I express my gratitude to him for this gesture that shows the excellent quality of relation between our two countries. I'm also here because I'm deeply committed to the duty of remembrance. Our heroes deserve all honors. They deserve our respect. They deserve our admiration. The celebration of Kenyan heroes who risked their lives fighting for the independence of their country is a great tribute that commands respect and pride. The members of Mau Mau National Liberation Movement suffered fierce repression at the hands of those whose sole aim was to perpetuate the colonial order. Jomo Kenyatta, Asheng Oneko, Bildad Kagia, Fred Kubai, Kangu Kurungba, Paul Kay, and their companions suffered the worst horrors of the colonial power, leading to the death of thousands of Kenyans, countless arrests, torture, and massive internment. Their fate is a reminder that colonial history is not just about enslavement, but also and above all about struggle, dignity, and justice too long delayed. I would like to seize this opportunity to pay tribute to these worthy sons and daughters of Kenya and African whose memory must be etched out into our collective consciousness. I admire their courage and determination in the anti-colonial resistance. With their blood and sweat, they wrote a great page in the glorious history of liberation. Ladies and gentlemen, colonial repression was not an isolated case in Kenya. We suffered the same in Senegal, where anti-colonial national resistance movements blossomed against the European imperialist powers offensive in Africa. Our fellow countrymen suffered unspeakable repression. For instance, on December 1944 at Charoy Black Barracks, innocent and unarmed Senegalese riflemen, along with their brothers in arms from other African countries, were massacred by the colonial power. Their only crime was to demand the payment of their allowance, bonuses, and other entitlements. This was one of many premeditated criminal acts, and the facts are undeniable. Out of duty of remembrance, truth, and justice, we cannot forget these horrors, nor the sacrifice of our national liberation heroes and founding fathers of our nation. The full history must be recalled. These valiant sons and daughters of Africa must be celebrated because celebration is an educational tool in the transmission of our values and virtues. This is why I initiated a series of activities to pay tribute to all victims of slavery, colonialism, and all past injustice. The first such initiative was to commemorate the 18th anniversary of the massacre of Senegalese riflemen last year. We are preparing to mark the second edition on December next, in communion with the 16 other troops contributing nations to the regiment commonly known as Senegalese riflemen. Ladies and gentlemen, to consolidate these various remembrance initiatives on the African continent, it is vital that we develop synergy in our efforts. I am on the view that to reclaim our history and restore the memory and dignity of these valiant Africans, we need to take several steps, including, first, build monuments and museums in honor of our heroes to serve as open spaces of reverence and remembrance. Second, build documentation and research centers to keep records, testimonies, and narratives about our heroes, while supporting research and education on this history of great African resistance fighters against slavery, colonialism, and worse form and injustice. Third, our streets, public squares, and buildings shall bear the names of our heroes so that their sacrifice and faith of arms be etched into our daily life and collective history. Fourth, teach our history in our education curricula. Thus, future generation will grow up with a thorough understanding of these episodes of our past. Fifth, in states throughout Africa, days dedicated to our heroes, like the one we are celebrating today. This is what will sustain the memory of our heroes, just as sustainable energy solution, the theme of this year's celebration, will help transform our lives. With the mastery of energy and sufficiency production capacity, Africa shall build the foundation of her development, the engine for her economic transformation, and foster technological and social innovation. Long live to memory of Kenyan heroes. Long live the memory of African heroes. I thank you for your kind attention.
Wapi makofi ya rais wa Senegal jameni. Asanteni sana. Wacha sasa nimuite kwa heshima kubwa Mama Prime Minister wa kutoka nchi ya Mozambique. You're welcome, Your Excellency, to make your statement. Please. Karibu.
Habari mchana. Sua Excelência William Ruto, Presidente da República do Quênia. Sua Excelência Bassirou Faye, Presidente da República do Senegal. Excelências, minhas senhoras, meus senhores, todo o protocolo observado.
Your Excellency William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Your Excellency Bassirou Faye, President of the Republic of Senegal. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed.
Iniciamos a nossa intervenção transmitindo as calorosas saudações e cumprimentos de Daniel Francisco Chapo, Presidente da República de Moçambique, a todos aqui presentes e, em particular, ao povo amigo e irmão queniano que hoje celebra o Mashujaa Day, Dia dos Heróis.
I begin my remarks by conveying warm greetings and best wishes from His Excellency Daniel Francisco Chapo, President of the Republic of Mozambique, to all those present here today, and in particular to the friendly and brotherly people of Kenya, who today celebrate Mashujaa Day, the Day of Heroes.
Manifestamos os nossos mais sentidos pésames e condolências ao povo, governo queniano e a família enlutada pelo desaparecimento físico de Sua Excelência Raila Odinga.
We extend our deepest condolences and heartfelt sympathy to the people and government of Kenya and to the bereaved family on the passing of the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Com seu desaparecimento físico, Quênia e todos os países africanos perdem um verdadeiro nacionalista cuja voz continuará a ecoar na luta por uma sociedade mais justa e democrática.
With his passing, Kenya, and indeed all African nations, have lost a true nationalist whose voice will continue to resonate in the struggle for a more just and democratic society.
Excelências, as festividades e comemorações do Dia de Heróis que hoje aqui assinalamos, para além de ser um momento de recordações e homenagens, constitui um momento de introspeção e reflexão de uma nação sobre os feitos dos seus melhores filhos que lutaram, morreram e sacrificaram por uma causa tão nobre que é a de libertar, construir, preservar e consolidar o seu país.
Excellencies, the festivities and commemorations of this Mashujaa Day, which we mark here today, are not only a time of remembrance and tribute but also a moment of introspection, reflection for a nation, and time to honor the deeds of its finest sons and daughters who fought, died, and sacrificed for the noble cause of liberation, nation building, preservation, and consolidation.
Recordar os pais fundadores do país, Jomo Kenyatta e seus 5 companheiros, assim como outros heróis conhecidos e anônimos, é um ato de preservação da história coletiva do povo queniano.
To remember the founding father of the nation, the late Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and his compatriots and contemporaries, including the members of the Kapenguria Six, as well as other known and unknown heroes, is an act of preserving the collective history of the Kenyan people.
Esta efeméride é também de reafirmação da sua visão, valores e determinação, elementos estes que continuam a servir de alicerce e bússola para a contínua construção de uma Quênia que se pretende cada vez mais desenvolvida, justa e inclusiva.
This occasion is also one of reaffirmation of Kenya's vision, values, and determination, elements that continue to serve as the foundation and compass for building a Kenya that aspires to be ever more developed, just, and inclusive.
Os seus ensinamentos, ideais e valores continuam vivos não só no seio dos quenianos, como também dos povos africanos, constituindo ferramentas e referências fundamentais para que continuemos a construir e a consolidar as conquistas até aqui alcançadas.
Their teachings, ideals, and values remain alive, not only among Kenyans, but also among the peoples of Africa, serving as essential tools and points of reference as we continue to build upon and consolidate the gains attained thus far.
Na unidade reside a força, liberdade e dignidade que todos almejamos.
In unity lies the strength, freedom, and dignity we all seek.
Termino agradecendo pelo convite endereçado a Moçambique para participar nas celebrações desta efeméride tão importante para o povo queniano e agradecendo a hospitalidade que nos tem sido concedida desde a nossa chegada.
In conclusion, allow us to express our sincere appreciation for the invitation extended to Mozambique to participate in the commemoration of this occasion, which is of great importance to the people of Kenya.
Muito obrigada. Asante sana.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Prime Minister. Wapi makofi ya mama Prime Minister wa kutoka Mozambique jameni, asanteni sana. Today we gather as a nation, as one people, here at Ithokwe Stadium in Kitui to celebrate Mashujaa Day, our National Heroes Day. Mashujaa Day is an occasion for remembrance, for celebration, and for reflection, and also a day for renewal. As you all know, yesterday we bid farewell to one of our country's most consequential and impactful sons, a towering statesman, a resolute patriot, and a quintessential hero, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, our former Prime Minister. This is the man, the legend, and the Pan-Africanist to whom we dedicate this Mashujaa Day. It is for this reason, fellow citizens, in his solemn memory, that I invite us all to now stand and observe a moment of silence in honor and celebration of his remarkable life and service to our great country, our continent, and to humanity. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sons and daughters of our motherland, Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga aspired and labored for a Kenya that is free, that is fair, governed by the rule of law, and filled with limitless opportunity for all of us. Baba envisioned and fought for a nation where, in the immortal words of our national anthem, justice is everyone's shield and defender, where we all dwell in unity, peace, and liberty, and a Kenya that has plenty within its borders. It goes without saying that it is precisely because of great and irrepressible giants like Raila that we find within ourselves the courage and inspiration to go further, to dream bigger, and to pursue higher ideals. For greatness and nobility are never achieved by settling for the ordinary or the comfortable. They are seized by those who dare to push the frontiers of possibility, by those who refuse to be confined by what is, but instead reach boldly for what could be. It is in that restless, relentless pursuit of higher ideal, in that unyielding spirit of aspiration, that humanity advances and nations rise. For it is only by stretching beyond our limit that we discover our true strength and fulfill our full destiny. Fellow citizens, as we emerge from a week of profound sorrow and reflection, and as the nation continues to observe the 7 days of mourning on the passing of our former Prime Minister, it is both fitting and worthy that we anchor this year's Mashujaa celebration in the extraordinary and consequential life of our departed legend, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. In honoring his memory, we also draw from his journey of enduring lessons of courage, service, and unyielding love for country. The first lesson that Baba taught us is to put country above self. Time and again, he reminded us that no disagreement is greater than our unity, no ambition more important than our peace, and no personal interest higher than the welfare of our nation. He famously declared that he would shake the hands of his rivals, whether he won or lost, because he loved Kenya more than he loved Raila Amolo Odinga. That was the measure of the greatness of a man. Early this year, when I invited him to address our cabinet retreat, Baba reiterated the need to ensure, above all else, that Kenya remains a stable and a secure nation. He reminded us that we may hold lofty visions and great ambition, that we may dream big, daring dreams, but without a country and a stable political environment, they would remain mere wishes. Perhaps more significantly, he told us that an imperfect nation striving for perfection is far better than one that is consumed by chaos and anarchy. And he could readily point to countries in our region that were once stable, but later descended into turmoil and disorder, and decades on, they are yet to regain their stability. There are people still enduring untold suffering and loss. This is the critical lesson that those who criticized and faulted Baba for working with us to stabilize the nation forget or refuse to acknowledge, or they just simply don't care. When some saw the opportunity to bring down their competitors, even if it meant bringing down the country, Baba chose the stability of Kenya. For Agwambo, the specter of a failed state was too grave to contemplate. He understood that leadership is not about personal pride, but about preserving the republic, not about victory in politics, but about preserving the stability of the nation we love, Kenya. Second, fellow citizens, Raila's love for Kenya was deep, steadfast, and unconditional. He once told us that if he were to die and God asked him where he would wish to be born again, he would say without hesitation, "Take me back to Kenya." Such was the depth of his devotion to our beloved nation. He knew that Kenya, like all nations, was not perfect, that nation building was work in progress, that it is only renewed with every generation. He understood that we are an imperfect people, always striving towards a more perfect union. Yet even in our flaws, he saw magic and beauty. In our struggles, he discerned promise, and in our contradictions, he could pick out hope and unity. To Raila, there was no place on earth more worthy of devotion, no people more deserving of faith, and no dream more noble than the Kenyan dream. Thirdly, Baba's life was an example of always choosing and closing ranks for the common good. When our nation faced turbulence last year, for example, I reached out across the political divide. Baba was the first to come to the table to help steady the ship of state, leading to the formation of the broad-based government that has since stabilized our economy and our nation. That is what heroes do. When the stakes are high, they rise above partisanship and put the country first. Even during the last election campaigns, when fate placed us once again on opposite sides of the political divide, Baba spoke words that will echo through generations. He said, and I quote, "I have been to the mountaintop. I have seen the glory land. I may not get there with you, but together we will get there." End of quote. In those words lay the essence of his leadership: selfless, visionary, and anchored in faith that Kenya's destiny transcends any individual. He reminded us that collaboration, even with rivals, is not an act of political convenience, but a sacred pact with posterity. For Baba, it was never about him becoming president. It was about Kenya having a good president, and Kenya moving from a third world status to a first world status in a short time as possible, so that we as a people and as a nation can realize our true potential. The glory land that he saw at the mountaintop is the better, the greater, and the more perfect union for which we must now, on this Mashujaa Day, dedicate ourselves anew. Fourth, our former Prime Minister was a foremost preacher of national unity. He tirelessly reminded leaders and citizens alike that our overarching identity is not defined by tribe, region, or creed, but by the sacred bond of being Kenyan. He often urged us to think Kenya first, to let the idea of one nation under one flag rise above all else. And he lived by that creed. When in 2002, he stood before the nation and declared Kibaki Tosha, it was not because he was unaware of where President Kibaki came from. It was because he saw beyond geography and ethnicity. He saw Kenya as one united nation under God. Fellow countrymen and women, it would therefore be a desecration of his legacy if we were to allow ourselves to be divided by sectarian interests, by the peddlers of hate, or by the see nothing good about Kenya battalion. The fifth lesson from Baba's life is one of unshakable faith in the future. He was a die-in-the-wool eternal optimist. Through every trial, setback, and triumph, the Right Honorable Raila believed that Kenya's best days were still ahead. He endured prison, persecution, and political defeat, yet never surrendered to bitterness or gave in to hopelessness. His optimism wasn't anchored on naivety. It was courage in motion. His life was a constant reminder that no setback is final, no dream too distant, and no obstacle insurmountable for a people determined and are united by purpose. At this juncture, fellow patriots, allow me to share reflections on the future of our great country, drawn from my intimate and wide-ranging conversations with the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga in the final months of his remarkable journey, as well as with leaders from across the political divide. In our engagements, Baba often spoke with immense passion and at times frustration about the pace of our national progress. He would often wonder why nations like South Korea, Singapore, or Malaysia, which were once at par with Kenya just a few decades ago, had leapt forward to first world status while we still grapple with the basics. In those moments of honesty and deep introspection, we came to a shared conclusion that the true driver of national development is leadership. And I repeat, is leadership. Not leadership focused on the next election, but leadership that aspires to impact the next generation. Leadership that dares to dream beyond its time and even its capacity. Leadership that is bold, visionary, and relentless in pursuit of the common good of our nation. And we agreed that if Kenya is to attain first world status within our lifetime, as it must, we should set for ourselves daring, audacious goals and pursue them with unwavering focus. It is in this very conviction, ladies and gentlemen, that has guided my engagements with leaders and stakeholders from across the political divide. I have consulted with my former boss, the fourth president of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. I have held discussions with majority of members of parliament, and they are here. I have consulted with many governors and grassroots leaders from every corner of the nation. And I will continue to engage because Kenya's progress must never be a partisan pursuit. It is a national inclusive mission. Through these deliberations, I have arrived at a clear conclusion that although we have made commendable progress in stabilizing the nation over the last 3 years, the time has come to take the country to the next level. And to do so, we must act decisively on at least 3 national priorities. Our first priority is food security. We cannot speak of prosperity while spending over 500 billion shillings every year importing food into Kenya, including maize, importing wheat, rice, sugar, edible oil, among many. This is not just an economic burden to us. It is a threat to our sovereignty. A nation that cannot feed itself, ladies and gentlemen, is not a nation that can claim to be free or sovereign. The only viable path available for us towards this goal now, fellow citizens, is through the expansion of irrigation and the modernization of our agriculture. Rain-fed farming can no longer sustain our growing population or our aspirations. That is why we have now set an ambitious target to build at least 50 mega dams across Kenya and to bring at least 2 million acres under irrigation. Let me emphasize that this is not a far-fetched dream. It is a necessity that must be realized within the next decade. We must become not only a food-secure nation, but also a major exporter of farm produce in the coming years. We have many markets that we have negotiated. We have the American markets under ACOA. We have the Chinese market that is now open for us. We have the European market that we have negotiated under the Economic Partnership Agreement. We have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area market of 1.4 billion that we can export to. Our second priority is enhance value addition, agro-processing, and manufacturing through industrialization. To transform Kenya into a prosperous, job-creating, wealthy nation, we must become a country that makes things, not merely buys or imports them. A country that exports finished products, not raw materials. A country where industries absorb labor, spur innovation, and expand wealth across every region. We are already laying the foundation for this transformation. Through the Africa Growth and Industrialization Initiative, and in partnership with the Afri-Exim Bank, we are establishing special economic zones in different parts of Kenya, in Rea Vipingo, in Dongo Kundu, in Naivasha, in Sagana, in Thika, in Nakuru, in Eldoret, in Busia, in Kisumu, and many other special economic zone areas that we are finding land. These zones will host textile, agro-processing, assembly, and light manufacturing industries, creating tens of thousands of jobs. At the county level, as was mentioned by the governor of Kitui here, we are rolling out county aggregation and industrial parks in all 47 counties. These parks will link farmers to processors, entrepreneurs to markets, and small entrepreneurs to national and regional value chains. We are unwavering in our vision that everything Kenya produces must be processed in Kenya. Tea must leave Kenya not as raw leaves, but as packaged excellent tea. Coffee, not as cherries, but as a premium blend for international markets. Cotton, not as lint, but as fabric and fashion. Hides, not as raw skin, but as leather shoes and bags branded, made in Kenya. But we cannot industrialize, ladies and gentlemen, without reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy. That is why we have set our sights on expanding Kenya's energy generation capacity from the current 2,300 megawatts to at least 10,000 megawatts within the next decade. As a former Minister for Energy, Raila Odinga was a strong advocate for the rapid expansion of our energy capacity through multiple sources, including hydro, geothermal, solar, wind, and also energy. Just for the record, already a lot of research is going on the development of the first nuclear energy plant in Kenya, in Siaya County. With abundant energy, we shall power factories, light every home, and drive Kenya to become the industrial hub of East Africa and the continent. Our third critical area of focus is infrastructure development. Again, Baba, who also served as a Minister for Roads and Public Works and Housing under the late President Kibaki, often reminded me that no economy can flourish without world-class infrastructure. It is in this context that we have committed to dual at least 1,000 kilometers of major highways, including the Rironi, Nakuru, Mau Summit, Eldoret, Malaba Road, Makutano, Embu, Meru Road, Kitengela, Namanga Road, Mombasa, Nairobi Highway, and Maroa, Nanyuki, Isiolo roads, among others, and construct an additional 10,000 kilometers of new tarmac roads linking counties, linking farmers, traders, and manufacturers to markets across the nation, and complete the standard gauge railway from Naivasha to Kisumu and onward to Malaba, seamlessly connecting Kenya to Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and DRC, the very heart of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area dream. Fellow citizens, to some, these projects may seem too ambitious, perhaps even out of reach. But this is precisely where bold, visionary, and heroic leadership comes into play, the kind that Raila Odinga embodied. It is the reason that on this Mashujaa Day, in recognition of his extraordinary contribution and enduring legacy, the government and the people of Kenya inscribe Raila Odinga's name among the foremost of our heroes under the public seal of the Republic of Kenya. On behalf of a grateful nation and through the authority vested in me as president, I have today posthumously conferred upon the Right Honorable Raila Odinga the highest honor of the Republic, the Chief of the Order of the Golden Heart of Kenya. Fellow citizens, I recall that when I spoke during Raila Odinga's state funeral, I wondered, where will another Raila come from? The truth is, there will forever be only one Raila Amolo Odinga, a single spirit, a towering patriot, and a hero for ages. But if we, the people he so deeply loved and served, choose to live by the lessons he's taught us, to love Kenya more than we love ourselves, to put unity above division, to aspire for greater, and to serve with courage and conviction, then we can become a great nation of 50 million heroes. And in doing so, Kenya will rise from the heights once thought unimaginable within our generation. That, fellow patriots, is our noble challenge on this Mashujaa Day. Kabla sijamaliza hotuba yangu, ndugu wananchi wa Kitui na Kenya, kwanza mimi nataka niwashukuru sana wananchi wa Kitui kwa sababu mmekuja kwa wingi sana. Tuko na halaiki ya watu wengi sana hapa Kitui leo, na mmekuja hapa kuunganisha na kuungana na ndugu zenu wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Leo Kenya mzima inajulikana, sherehe ya Mashujaa inafanyika katika mji wa Kitui. Wana Kitui, watu wa Kitui, asanteni sana kwa kuwa wenyeji na kwa kutusaidia in hosting this great day as we celebrate Kenyan heroes. Kutoka kwangu na serikali nzima la taifa la Kenya, na waambia watu wa Kitui, asanteni sana. Nyinyi pia kwa kufanya tendo hili la kuunganisha Kenya, nyinyi pia watu wa Kitui, na wapigia salute kama mashujaa wa taifa letu la Kenya. Nyinyi mnajua nilikuwa na mpango ya kutembea hapa Kitui kwa shughuli ya mambo ya maendeleo ya taifa letu, hasa mambo ya maendeleo ya Kitui County. Ilikuwa nije hapa Wednesday, na nikuwe hapa tena Ijumaa, na nikuwe tena hapa kesho na kesho kutwa. Nilikuwa nimepanga safari ya siku 5 hapa Kitui na pia katika sehemu zingine za Ukambani. Lakini kwa sababu ya msiba tuliopata, hiyo ziara yangu sasa nitaipeleka mbele kidogo. Wiki 2 zijazo mimi nitakuwa hapa. Mimi nitakuwa hapa. Na nitakuwa hapa makusudi kwa sababu Kitui, Ukambani kwa siku nyingi imewachwa nyuma. Na mimi nimesema kwa vyovyote Mungu anijalie hii Ukambani haitawachwa nyuma tena. Nataka munisikize jameni, ndugu zangu watu wa Kitui. Sisi ni wananchi wa taifa moja. Sisi ni wananchi wa nchi moja, taifa letu la Kenya. Siasa ya zamani ya ubaguzi, siasa ya migawanyiko na chuki na ukabila ndio imetuletea hasara ya sehemu zingine za Kenya kuachwa nyuma kwa sababu ya siasa duni ya kubagua wananchi wengine. Ndio mimi nimesema kwa vyovyote hii Ukambani haitawachwa nyuma tena. Mnanielewa? Wacha nirudie. Maneno ya zamani ya kusema sijui bomwe, sijui betwe, Ukambani ikabaki nyuma, haitatendeka tena. Nasikia hata kuna wengine wanajaribu kueneza siasa ndogo ati maskini jeuri. Iko maskini jeuri ya kufanya nini? Hakuna umaskini itabaki hapa Ukambani. Tunataka tuungane, tushirikiane, tufanye kazi kwa pamoja. Nataka mnisikize ndugu zangu watu wa Ukambani. Hii stadium tulijenga kama serikali ya Kenya. Tumeweka hapa milioni 750 tujenge hii stadium na bado haijakamilika. Tangojea pengine mwezi moja ikikamilika, tumejenga kila mahali, tumeweka parking mzuri, nitakuja kufungua rasmi ikiwa imekamilika. Na ni kwa sababu tunafanya hivi sio Ukambani peke yake. Tunafanya hivi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Pia nimeamrisha wizara ambayo inahusika na michezo pia tujenge stadium kama hii pale Machakos, na tujenge stadium kama hii pale Wote, pale Makueni, kwa sababu nchi ya Kenya ni nchi ambayo inajulikana na ni mashuhuri kwa mambo ya michezo, na sababu hiyo stadium and infrastructure ya mambo ya michezo lazima tuwe nayo. Wewe Waziri Mvurya, unajua vile utafanya tukamilishe hii, ili mapema mwaka ujao tuanze Machakos na tuanze pale Makueni, kwa sababu tunataka Ukambani itembee sambamba na sehemu zingine za taifa letu la Kenya. Hapa vile vile tumejenga uwanja wa ndege. Mimi nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba hiyo uwanja haijakamilika. Bado tutajenga terminal building. Tunataka hiyo uwanja ikae kama viwanja zingine za ndege sehemu zote za Kenya. Hapa vile kiongozi gavana amesema kuna barabara tulisema tumetengeneza. Kuna zingine zimekamilika, kuna zingine bado. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie yale yote ambayo tuliweka katika mpango yetu tutakamilisha, kwa sababu tunataka wakati tunabadilisha Kenya pia Ukambani inabadilika. Sio hivyo peke yake. Nyinyi mnajua ya kwamba mlituuliza tujenge barabara kutoka Kibwezi, na mlisema hiyo barabara iende mpaka ishikane kule Mwingi. Hiyo barabara tulijenga ikakuja ikakwama mahali fulani pale. Mahali inaitwa kwa siku ama ni kwa nani? Kwa siku hapo. Sasa mimi nataka niwatangazie mahali hiyo barabara ilikwama. Sasa nimetafuta pesa ya kuikwamua, kujenga ifike Migwani mpaka ifike Mbondoni, iungane na barabara ya kwenda Garissa. Tunaelewana jameni? Na nishamwambia Waziri Davis Chirchiri yuko hapa kwamba hiyo barabara sitaki tena mambo ya barabara hiyo kukwama. Tunataka tukamilishe hiyo barabara, kwa sababu mpango yetu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba Kenya inasonga mbele. Nyinyi mnajua hizo barabara na miradi mingine nyingi zilikwama kwa muda mrefu, kwa sababu tulikuwa na matatizo na uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Na niliwauliza kwa unyenyekevu, munipatie nafasi kidogo ninyoroshe mambo ya uchumi. Sasa mimi nataka niwatangazie uchumi wa Kenya sasa iko steady. Na sasa tuko na mpango kamili ya vile tutasukuma mambo ya maendeleo ya taifa letu mbele. Vile vile viongozi wetu hapa walituuliza ya kwamba kuna barabara ingine ya kutoka Chuluni kwenda Zombe mpaka Mwitika. Hiyo barabara vile vile sasa tuko na contractor na tutawajengea hiyo barabara, kwa sababu tunataka tuhakikishe watu wa Kitui East, na mimi najua mbunge wenu Bwana Nimrod Mbai yuko hapa, ni mtu msumbufu sana, ananiuliza hii barabara kila mwaka. Vile vile nimeongea na mama anaitwa Rachel Nyamai ya kwamba barabara ya kutoka Ikudha kwenda Mudha mpaka Mutomo. Hiyo barabara pia tuijenge, na tayari tumepata contractor wa kujenga hiyo barabara. Vile vile mnajua kuna barabara ilikwama kule Mwingi, ile barabara ya kutoka Kamuongo kwenda Kandwiwa. Hiyo barabara vile vile sasa tuko na pesa ya kukamilisha section ambayo ilikuwa imekwama pale. Vile vile nyinyi mnajua tumepoteza watu wengi, vile governor alivyosema pale Enziu Bridge. Hiyo daraja imekuwa daraja ya maafa. Mimi nataka niwaeleze sasa watu wa Ukambani, waziri yuko hapa, nimempatia maagizo na nimesema kabla ya Februari mvua ianze mwaka ujao, hiyo daraja iwe imekamilika, ndio tusiwe tena na maafa katika hiyo barabara. Umeelewana watu wa Ukambani na Kitui? Vile vile nataka mnisikize kwa makini. Hapa Kitui pia tuko na mpango mkubwa ya kusambaza stima. Nilikuwa nije hapa hiyo siku kwa sababu ya harakati hiyo ya kusukuma stima. Mimi naelewa kupitia kwa viongozi wenu ya kwamba bado tuko na wananchi wengi hawajafikiwa na huduma ya stima. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Sababu hiyo serikali ya Kenya imetoa pesa shilingi bilioni 2.2 kuunganisha manyumba ya wananchi hapa Kitui 16,500 mpya. Between now and February next year, hizo manyumba 16,000 tutakuwa tumeziunganisha stima, na baadaye tutakubaliana, baada ya hiyo awamu tutapanga tena vile tutahakikisha kwamba stima inafika kwa manyumba zenu na tunaondoa giza, ndio shetani ashindwe. Mimi vile vile nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba hapa Kitui kupitia program yetu ya affordable housing markets pamoja na hostels tumewapatia budget ya shilingi bilioni 15 ya Kitui. Tayari tuko na projects ya shilingi bilioni 7. Tuko na soko, mmesikia governor akisema soko kubwa ya Kitui Town. Hiyo soko kubwa ya Kitui Town sasa tutaichukua kutoka county, tutaimaliza, tutakamilisha. Vile vile soko ya Mwingi Town. Pia pale Mwingi Town tunataka kujenga soko kubwa kwa sababu mji wa Mwingi ni mji mkubwa. Vile vile kuna soko ya mahali inaitwa Kalundu. Ni mnajua mahali Kalundu iko. Na soko pale Kabati pia tunataka kujenga soko kubwa. Na vile vile Mutomo tujenge soko kubwa. Alafu tuko na soko zingine 10 katika sehemu mbalimbali. Soko yote tunajenga hapa Kitui ni soko 14 mpya ambayo itasaidia wakulima wetu waweze kupata mahali ya kupeleka mazao yao isiharibike. Tuwe na storage, tuwe na cold room, tuwe na mahali ya kuuza, mahali kuna heshima, mahali kuna maji, mahali kuna stima, na mahali wale wote wanaofanya hiyo biashara wanaweza kuendesha biashara hiyo bila ya matatizo yeyote. Vile vile sasa tumepatiana kandarasi ya hostels ya vijana katika TVET zetu, universities hapa Kitui. Wanafunzi 5,600 watafaidika kutoka hostels ambazo tumetangaza kandarasi na tutajenga in the next 1 year ziwe zimekuwa complete. Mimi naelewa vile vile kwamba hapa Kitui tuko na shida ya mambo ya maji. Kweli si kweli? Mnajua tuko na damu kubwa hapa Thwake, na hiyo damu imejengwa muda mrefu. Mimi sasa nataka niwatangazia kwamba tumepata pesa bilioni 9 ya kukamilisha hiyo dam ya Thwake. By April, May next year, that dam will be complete na itasaidia watu wa Kitui, watu wa Makueni na watu wa Machakos. Tutaweza kupata maji ya manyumbani na maji ya irrigation. Na ili kuondoa chafu, nyinyi mnajua hiyo mto ambaye inatoka Nairobi ndio inaleta maji mpaka hapa Kitui. Pia kule Nairobi ndio tusiwaletee maji machafu. Kule Nairobi tuko na mpango kubwa ya kusafisha Nairobi River ambayo inaendelea saa hizi. Tuko na vijana karibu 40,000 wanashughulika na kusafisha Nairobi River ili maji itakayotoka kule iingie hapa Kitui, iende Thwake, isiwe ni maji machafu. Tuhakikisha kwamba mnapata maji masafi ndio tuweze kutumia manyumbani na vile vile tuweze kutumia kwa mambo ya kilimo. Vile vile umesikia kiongozi wamesema ya kwamba pia Umadam. Hii Umadam ilianzishwa miaka 15 iliyopita. Sasa hii ni aibu kidogo. Hii dam jameni, mimi nataka tumalize hii dam by next year, hata kama haijafika mwezi wa 4 tumalize hiyo dam. Hii dam haiwezi kuwa inajengwa watoto watazeeka tukijenga hiyo dam. Kwa hivyo mimi nimemwambia waziri na waziri yuko hapa, Bwana Muridhi, mambo ya hiyo dam, whatever it takes, we must get the resources and complete that dam, kwa sababu watu wa Kitui wanahitaji maji kutoka dam hiyo ya hapo Uma. Na vile vile niwaeleze ya kwamba tayari tuko na mpango ya dam ya High Grand Falls ambayo iko kati ya kaunti yenu ya Kitui na kaunti ya Tharaka Nithi katika sehemu ile ingine. Katika zile dams 50 ambazo nimesema tutazijenga, mega dams just like Thwake, one of them is going to be the High Grand Falls Dam that we are now planning on how we are going to complete that dam. Nataka kusema mambo mawili ya mwisho. Nyinyi mnajua tumesema ya kwamba tunataka mambo ya afya isiwe ni starehe ya watu matajiri ama watu walio na kazi ama wale wako na uwezo. Tunataka afya iwe ni haki ya kila Mkenya. Na sababu hiyo ndio tumeweka mpango mpya wa universal health coverage ambayo itahakikisha kwamba kila Mkenya anaweza kwenda hospitali yeyote atibiwe na mpango wa serikali iweze kulipia gharama ya hospitali. Watu wa hapa Kitui katika orodha yetu ama statistics yetu, watu wa Kitui ambao mumejiandikisha kwa SHA ni watu 405,000. Watu 405,000 wamejisajili kwa watu 1,100,000, kumaanisha 36% ya watu wa Kitui wamejiandikisha. Mimi nataka niwaulize wananchi wa Kitui, kujiandikisha ni bure. Wewe ujiandikishe. Ukijiandikisha itatusaidia kujua madawa ambayo inahitajika ni kiasi gani, wauguzi ni kiasi gani, equipment ya kutumia katika matibabu ni kiasi gani. Na vile vile tumeweka pesa ya serikali kusema kila mwananchi, wewe mtu ya Kitui, ukienda kwa hospitali na umejiandikisha kwa SHA, utoe evidence yako kwamba umejiandikisha kwa SHA, utatibiwa, utadungwa sindano kama ni kudungwa sindano, ama upatiwe dawa kama ni kupatiwa dawa, na serikali ya Kenya itakulipia, usilipe chochote. Na kama kuna hospitali inalipisha wananchi, mimi nataka wananchi wapige ripoti kwa polisi, kwa sababu gharama ya hospitali tumeweka pesa ya serikali ya kulipia gharama ya hospitali kwa Wakenya wote. Kitui, mnanielewa? Kitui, mnanielewa? Mimi vile vile nataka nitangaze nikiwa hapa Kitui leo kwamba katika mpango wetu wa kupanga ajira na usaidizi wa vijana wa Kenya, tukishirikiana na benki ya kimataifa ama World Bank, tuko na pesa shilingi bilioni 20 ya vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya. Na katika hiyo mpango tunataka vijana 800,000 ili tuwajumuishe katika mipango tofauti tofauti. Tumewaambia vijana wa Kenya wajiandikishe pale katika mtandao *254#. Hapo ujiandikishe, utakuta mahali imeandikwa hapo nyota. Uingie hapo ndani ujiandikishe. Number 1, kama wewe ni kijana, haujaenda shule, hauna kosi yeyote umefanya, tunatafuta vijana 90,000 ya kuwapeleka katika courses tofauti tofauti kwa gharama ya serikali ya Kenya. Hautalipa chochote, lakini tutakupeleka college na utapata vile unaweza kujisimamia ukiwa sasa umepata course ama umepata ufundi wa aina tofauti tofauti. Ya pili, tunatafuta pia vijana wale ambao mnafanya kazi, mko na skill, wewe ni fundi lakini hauna makaratasi ya kutambua ya kwamba wewe ni fundi. Pia tuko na mpango ambaye inaitwa recognition of prior learning, ili wewe ambaye uko na ujuzi, uko na ufundi tayari, uko na skill tayari, tukusaidie, tukufanyie recognition of prior learning ili ukuwe na certificate. Wakati unaenda mahali unaenda kutafuta kazi, sasa utakuwa na stakabadhi ya kujua ya kwamba wewe ni fundi wa aina hii ama aina nyingine. Ya tatu, pia tunatafuta vijana wenye biashara ndogo ndogo. Kama wewe ni kijana wa miaka 19 ama kati ya miaka 19 na 29, tunatafuta vijana 1,100 tutakao wapatia kila mmoja wao 50,000 kuendesha biashara zao. Vijana mko, munisikize vizuri. Ijumaa, Friday 24th, hii inakuja. Leo ni Monday, unahesabu Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Katika kila constituency tunafanya verification ya vijana ambao wako na biashara, ili tuwasaidie na pesa muweze kuinua biashara zenu, ili mchangie katika kuzalisha uchumi wa Kenya. Ndio sote tuungane tufukuze umaskini katika taifa letu la Kenya. So on Friday there will be verification in every constituency in Kenya, the 290 constituencies. There will be verification of the young people who will then benefit from resources that will help them grow their businesses. And I am asking that in this verification, we are looking for 100,000 young people so that we can give each one of them 50,000 shillings for them to enhance their businesses wherever they will be. And I want to ask all leaders, viongozi wetu, magavana, wabunge, MCAs, tusaidiane ili vijana ambao wanafaa kupatiwa hizi pesa tuwatambulishe, ndio tuinue hali ya uchumi ya vijana wetu, wakati tunazidi na kupanga vile vijana wetu wote watajumuika aidha kwa biashara ama kwa kazi, ndio tuweze kusukuma taifa letu la Kenya mbele. Mwisho, na mimi nataka niseme, tutaanza disbursement ya hiyo pesa tarehe 4 mwezi ujao. In another 2 weeks, we will now start the disbursement of the money to the youth that will have been identified beginning 4th of next month, 4th of November, in the coming 2 weeks, so that we can run that program and see how many young people can benefit from that program. Hapa Ukambani, mimi najua kilimo yenu kubwa ni mambo ya pulses, cowpeas, na ile peas zingine zote pamoja na ndengu, na vile vile matunda, oranges, pamoja na mangoes. Na nishaongea na viongozi wa sehemu hii. Gavana wenu Malombe nishaongea na yeye, anajua, we spoke sometime last year on a comprehensive plan of making sure that those agricultural products that can be manufactured from this region are elevated and become part of our bottom-up economic transformation plan to make sure that every part of Kenya, kama tunasaidia wengine kwa mambo ya kahawa na chai na sukari na mahindi na ngano, hapa Ukambani vile vile tunaweza kuwainua kwa yale mimea ambayo yanazalishwa katika sehemu hii. Ndugu watu wa Kitui, mimi nataka nimalizie kwa kuwauliza jameni. Na wauliza ninyi watu wa Kitui, nikiwauliza ndugu zetu wote wa taifa letu la Kenya. Imefika wakati katika taifa letu la Kenya, vile nimesema, tuache kuagiza vyakula kutoka nje. Inawezekana tuzalishe chakula ya kutosha Kenya. Tunatumia zaidi ya bilioni 500 kila mwaka kuagiza chakula kutoka nje. Na ndio nimesema, ili tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba tunazalisha chakula ya kutosha, ili tuweze kuwa na products ambazo tutatumia katika masoko ile ambayo tumepata, ni lazima sasa tuwe na pesa ya kutengeneza dams ama mabwawa ya maji 50, yale yanaitwa mega dams, ndio tuweze kuzalisha chakula kutokana na kunyunyiza maji mashamba yetu, because all indications are that we are slowly exhausting land that we can generate food from rain-fed agriculture. That is why we need to build 50 mega dams, even if it will cost us between 900 billion and a trillion shillings. That money we can raise here in Kenya. We need to generate more energy. We cannot industrialize. We cannot be a manufacturing country if we have only 2,300 megawatts of energy. We need to generate, at the minimum, 10,000 megawatts so that we can power our industries. We can power our agro-processing and value addition and create products that we are going to export to the markets that we have already negotiated. And thirdly, we must build infrastructure. The late Raila Odinga told us, you cannot be a progressive first world country without first world infrastructure. We need to do more roads. That's why I've said we need to do 10,000 kilometers of tarmac. We need to do more dualing of roads. We need to do our airports. We need to do infrastructure that is going to support the progress and the prosperity of our nation. I want to ask us, I am asking leaders here in Ukambani, I am asking leaders, members of parliament from across Kenya, governors from across Kenya, I am asking political leaders from across Kenya that we hem in together, we rally together and lift this nation. Kenya is ripe for transitioning from a third world country to a first world country because we have what it takes and we have the resources that will lift this country forward. We will be moving to parliament for us to set up the National Infrastructure Fund, a fund that is going to be funded from our taxes, from proceeds, from privatization, and from other development partners, so that we have a dedicated fund that is going to drive our energy generation, the construction of the dams, the construction of infrastructure, the same way other countries have done. And together with that, we are also going to set up a fund that is going to look after our future. We are going to set up a fund that is going to preserve wealth for the next generation of Kenyans, so that everything we generate today, we don't consume today. And I want to ask leaders from across Kenya that together, united, we can lift this country to the next level. I want to ask all our political leaders, there is time for everything. Jomo Kenyatta told us, as we celebrate the heroes of today, we must be architects of the future. And together, we can design a better future for our nation. Ndugu watu wa Kitui, sijui kama tumekubaliana tutatembea pamoja ama mnasemaje Kitui? Kitui tuko pamoja. Kitui hoye. Kitui hoye. Mnasema tutembee pamoja. Mnasema tuungane kama Wakenya. Pamoja. Tuache ukabila. Tuache chuki. Tuache migawanyiko. Tuungane. Wangapi wanasema tuungane jameni, watu wa Ukambani na watu wa Kitui? Asanteni sana, ninawapenda sana, nawatakia baraka ya Mungu. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, kwa heshima naomba sote tusimame kwa wimbo wa taifa na wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki tukiongozwa na bendi ya majeshi. Bendi tafadhali. Asanteni. Kwa heshima tunaweza kuketi. Tuketi tafadhali wananchi. Niweze kumpisha mwenzangu Bwana Dan Mwangi aweze kutuelekeza jinsi tutakavyoondoka hapa uwanjani kulingana na itifaki. Tuketi chini wananchi tafadhali. Tuketi chini tafadhali, tuketi chini.
Asante sana mwenzangu. Wa kwanza kuondoka kwenye jukwaa ni rais wetu mpendwa, rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, akiandamana pamoja na mama wa taifa, wakisindikishwa na mkuu wa majeshi ya ulinzi Generali Charles Kahariri
manoe makoro kelo giko mar nyasi mar Mashujaa Day mane jatend piny Kenya William Ruto odiochieng' ma kawuono telone jo Kenya duto e dhialo thuondi ma wantiere godo e pacho kae. Nyasi manobagi e alap ma Ithokwe Stadium mayudore kaunti ma Kitui. Nyako Ramogi Ajwang' winjo kanyo ka jatend piny Kenya William Ruto ochiwo singo mopogore opogore ne jodak e kaunti ma Kitui kaachiel kod jo Kenya duto. To maduong' mogik ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto oyango odiochieng' ma kawuono en mano malemo ma ochiwne mosenindo Prime Minister machon ma pacho kae mano Raila Amolo Odinga. Ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto koro miye mich mano mar Chief of the Order of the Golden Heart ma en osimbo mamalo mogik ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto nyalo chiwo e pacho kae. Ka bende jatend piny Kenya William Ruto ochiwo ne mosenindo Raila Amolo Odinga osimbo makamano kaluwore kod tich makare manotimo e pacho kae ne en jal ma en ratego, ne en jal mane ochiwore ne kedo ne piny Kenya, kendo ne en jal mane kinde duto keto piny Kenya mbele mano moloyo kata dwaro mare owuona. Kopogore kod mano, jatend piny Kenya William Ruto bende koro wacho ni nyinga mano mar Raila Amolo Odinga ibo bed ka iketo e kind nyinge mago mag thuondi ma piny Kenya osebedo godo e pacho kae kaluwore kod kit chia mar telo makare mane oketo e pacho kae. Nyako Ramogi Ajwang' geno ni bendi luwo twak makamana achiel kachiel kaluwore kod singo mopogore opogore ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto bende koro osingo ni obo bedo kotimo mano motudore kod nyaka golo piny Kenya e kind pinje madongruok margi podi nitiere piny. Kowacho kanyo ni lek mar mosenindo Raila Amolo Odinga ne en mar neno ni piny Kenya obedo e kind pinje ma uchumi margi odongore. Mano miluongo kanyo kod dhongere ni first world countries. Mane lek ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto wacho ni mosenindo Raila Amolo Odinga ne nitiere godo. Bende wacho ni nyasi mano mar Mashujaa Day mahiga ni okete ayanga kata en mano mar dhialo thuon mayand wawito tarik 15 dwe mar 10 mano mahiga ni ma odiochieng' manyoro tarik 19 noket e kar yweyo mare mogik e dala wuon mare mayudore kango Ramogi Bondo e kaunti ma Siaya. Pod antiere kae kod Wilberforce Otieno, janon weche mag siasa. Wilberforce, iwinjo kanyo kaka jatend piny Kenya William Ruto ochwalo twak mare ahinya nyato odiochieng' ma kawuono mane en odiochieng' mar dhialo thuondi montiere godo e pacho ka. Mane momako wang'i ahinya?
Namba chiel, Joyce, ker otimo gima ne ok wapar ka omiyo Raila manyosenindo obedo gi gima honorary miluongo ni Chief of the Golden Heart. Mano e gima duong' ma president nyalo timo ne ng'ata ng'ata mana kaka ne wawacho joma itimo negi award kawuono. Mano nyiso ni Rais nyoni gigena ahinya kuom ogai ma osenindo Raila Amolo Odinga. Number 2, iwinjo ka speeches mag jatend piny ng'eny ne wacho gik mabeyo manyo Raila osetimo. Tich maber manyo Raila osetimo, miwinjo ka kero wuoye mang'eny ahinya. Kata obedo ni koro no wacho gik mosetim e piny Kitui, kata gik ma idwa tim kadhi mbele. Mana gik ma wawacho ka. Gimomako wang' ahinya, iwinjo kowuoyo kuom energy ma itimo Siaya. Mana gima ne wawacho seche mokalo en ni nyaka koro CS mamarwa ma en CS Wandai nyaka fast track gimiwinjo rais wacho ni. Nikech wayie duto ni gige sirikal gi gilokore seche duto. Eni koro nyaka make sure ni energy mainano ka rais okete teko na ni oluwa motimore. Winjo ka rais bende wuoyo kuom weche yore. Winjo koparo ni Raila nyonyise ni mondo Kenya odongre eni infrastructure machalo yo nyaka losi. Winjo kochako otuomo highways modwano tim dual coverage odwano ochako ger konde mako manyonge lam mondo go lam. Winjo ko wacha around 10,000. Nyiso ni mondo piny odongre, mondo watim gima joma nochako Kenya ne dwaro. En achiel kuom gi en gik machalo infrastructure. Yore nyaka koro media samiyo yawo yore ni kelo ala maduong', kelo lokruok mararia ahinya.
Adwa ni mak parono gi kanyo nikech kata kopogore kod wechego mago mag loso apeni makare pacho kae. Bende jatend piny Kenya William Ruto wacho ni piny Kenya nyaka koro bed kod gino miluongo kae ni food security. Kaachiel kod neno ni wanyayo chiemo moromo e pacho kae. To kata ka nitiere mwandu mitero e pinje maoko, ok water gino miluongo ni en raw material. Nyaka watim ne mwandu magwa value addition. Matiende ni waduse kata wamedo ne nyadhi moro kapok watere pinje maoko. Mar mondo mi oyar thuolo mar piny Kenya mar timo helni koda pinje mamoko. Kata kamano, jafwambo marwa mano Chris Owino osebedo e stadium mano ma Ithokwe Stadium mayudore Kitui mayudore e county ma Kitui. Chris, geno ni iriyo maber nyaka sani kendo puoch kaachiel kod paka kuom tich makare ahinya ma itimo Ithokwe Stadium e county ma Kitui odiochieng' ma kawuono mar bedo itwa kaachiel kod wang'wa e Kitui kono. Kata kamano nyaka gisani kinyalo mana medo lernwa moko kuom gigo ma ina kaka jafwambo mane or Kitui kawuono okwanyo kotudore koda nyasi mar Mashujaa Day mar odiochieng' ma kawuono. Chris.
Erokamano Joyce, kata doko ni okawinj gima iwacho kalure koda chochni weche mag tudruok. Gima dhi nyime en ni nyasi mar Mashujaa Day mar 2025 ochopo e ng'iende bang' jatend piny William Ruto chiwo twak mare mogik kendo loro nyasi makamae mosebedo kadhi nyime e kaunti ma Kitui chakre e seche mag okinyi kendo kelo jopiny mohewo 15,000 mane oyuoro mar biro winjo twak mar jatend piny. Mabende gima duong' e twak makawuono en ni piny owacho oketo tenge nyasi makawuono mar dhialo ogai mar ODM mosenindo Raila Amolo Odinga kuom okenge kod mise mane oketo motegno e ngimane duto matiyo ne oganda jo Kenya mar neno ni gwenge duto oyudo dongruok maromre, mar neno ni piny otakalore kod pen chik, mar neno ni oganda obet odak e achiel kachiel kod here kindgi kod kedo ne thuolo mar demokrasia pacho kae. Omiyo odiochieng' ma kawuono nyasi mar Mashujaa Day e kaunti ma Kitui chakre ne nyaka giko mare ne en mana mar dhialo mosenindo Raila Amolo Odinga kuom tich manyadhi, tich ma migosi mano timo ne oganda jo Kenya kod pinje mag Afrika kapod ngima. Ka jatend piny William Ruto okwayo jotelo wetene mondo osomie kido mar Raila Odinga mar keto piny Kenya nyime moloyo dwachgi duto, kendo neno ni ka weche tek ginyalo dok chien mana ka onagi wacho ni tur onge asara. Gibed jotelo ka Raila Odinga mane ka weche tek kata odoko ni idhi rocho dwaro mage tata tiro mage ne odok chien oketo piny Kenya nyime kendo neno ni obet kod jotelo wetene kata jogo mane gin jasike weche mag siasa obet kod gi piny kendo gimosre mar neno ni piny Kenya obedo kod kwe, piny Kenya obedo kod achiel kachiel kod neno ni piny Kenya obedo kod dongruok. Bende jatend piny William Ruto oywago mano mawacho ni twak magi kod Raila kane pod ngima Raila ne chunye duto ne kod hera mare ne ni piny Kenya ogo okang' kuom pinje machandore nyaka pinje madongore nyaka pinje ma osedongore. Kane ka owacho ni Raila ne ok mor ni piny Kenya osedigni weche mag dongruok kipimo kod piny mamoko. Ta kamano owacho ni yo kende ma piny Kenya logo okang' kowuok kuom pinje ma ka dongore nyaka pinje mosedongore en ka jotelo obiro kanyakla oketo tenge siasa mag akwede kod pogruok kendo riwore kanyakla yuatol kanyakla mar neno ni piny Kenya ogoyo kenge mag dongruok. Mogik bende odhialo ogai ODM Raila Odinga kendo omiye mich ma migosi mar achiel kuom jodongo, mich mimiyo maduong' mogik mar jodongo jotene mar piny Kenya kalure kod chenro mage moseketo e ngimane duto kendo ne piny Kenya. An kod moko kuom jodak ma Kitui kata jogo ma bende obiro nyasi mar Mashujaa adwaro mondo obi onyiswa to en e nyasi ma kawuono mar Mashujaa en ang'o momako wang'e to owuok e kaunti mane to ang'o mokele kakae. Inyalo chako non to iluongi ni ng'awa to iwuok e kaunti mane to ang'o mokele odiochieng' ma kawuono e kaunti ma Kitui.
Erokamano, an iluonga ni Hezekiah Ogira, aja Homa Bay, Rangwe, Kagan, Gongo, Kubuya. An achiel kuom japuonj mane puonjo nyithindo gik manu neno ka nyithindo loso ka. Asebedo katimo tijni ok kende kuonde moko be mopogore opogore. Kawuono awinjo ka jatend piny owacho wach maber ahinya kuom baba. Owacho aneno ka odwani gik mane baba owacho emotim nikech owacho ndalo mane baba ne entiere en jatend yore gik mane baba owacho ni mondo gitim emodwano tim. Ndalo mane baba ne en jatend mo to gi teko mag stima gik mane baba owacho go mogombo mondo tim. Omiyo anawinjo ka chunya ber nikech kawuono ne waomboleza lakini koro sani gik ma jatend piny owacho ni gik mane baba ndikone magi gik ma en bedo go mondo tim. Omiyo kawuono wan kaka oganda Luo agombo ni mondo wabed motegno ahinya e sirikandni nikech baba osenindo lakini kunindo mar baba nitiere weche misingi moko mane baba weyo momiyo kawuono kata jatend piny kawuoyo to wacho ni gimane baba owacho achiel kuomgi owacho ni odwa keto yaw koth chwe e gweng'wa lakini pi kogik ndalo oro to waonge pi. Omiyo wakunyo yawo, wabedo gi pi ndalo oro kendo ndalo chwiri. Mar ariyo owacho wach sitima. Wach sitima kata thurwa kujo to nitiere kuonde moko pod sitima onge. Omiyo dago mondo sitima ni kaka president owacho ni mondo sitima ochor e kuonde moko e piny e Kenya mzima mondo wabed gi sitima dibed maber. To mogik an wach pur go wacho ni ka wan gi pi ka waketo dams ka to dibed ni kata chiemo dwa bed godo nikech koro tich bedo mayot, sitima nitie, pi nitie. Omiyo gimoro amora mane lek mar baba chopo e tend sirikand ni. Omiyo omak sirikand ni gi lwedo achiel nikech sani mae sirikal mowan godo to kendo tich magitiyo biro konyowa kaka jaluo. Mogik owacho wach SHA. Wach SHA dago mondo wandikre kaka jo SHA, lakini kwa ndikore kaka jo SHA dago mondo awache ni osiptende wa madala. Kidhi osiptal madala tithiedho osiptal jathiedho jaluo, ok othiedho jakisi, othiedho jaluo. To jaluo mothiedho ni ema dhi osiptal kose ndikore SHA to koso thieth nikech yedhe onge. Omiyo osiptende wa jatend piny nigi lek maber kodwa, lakini pok wa neno lek ni mwakawe mobedo kaka gima nyalo timore. Wandikre kaka jo SHA mondo wayud konyruok.
Kapok idhiyo, ne itiego nyithindo mane miyo ji mor. Aneno ka uloso kido kata nying mar Raila Amolo Odinga. To ma tiegruok makama ino ochakre chon. Ne ubedo ko thuolo marom nade mar paro ni mondo uket nying Raila Odinga kata nyithindo los kido mar Raila Odinga kalure ni gini otimre mana e juma mwantiere ni.
Tich adek gokinyi kan wayudo wach ni baba otho. Ne lit na mo kata nyithindo ma watiego kane ok watiego chieng'no ne wabedo abeda ka maonge gima ne watimo. Kogik tich ang'wen to waparo, to kapok waparo to komiti mencha loso kae be wawacho ne gini gidwa gombe mondo wambe wayuage baba e yo makende ahinya. To gilek gigi be ne giyie gi wach ni. Omiyo kogik Friday gini anotimore mana ndalo ariyo kende. Friday gi Saturday nyoro ne wan e rehearsals. En ni bedo gi nyadhi tich mitiyo kendo tiyo tich no kihero. Kato jo mitiyo godo be nyaka wati kanyakla. Omiyo no wayuago baba e yo makende ahinya. Kamo nindo nind gi kwe wan kaka nyithi Kitui gi nyithi Kenya. Baba, we are looking forward as our hero.
Mondo gima kamano timre ne en chik moke apisi majatan piny kose un mane waamua ne wadhial baba ne en gima wuok e serikal mamalo.
Chunywa no gombo to ne en bend lek mar sirikal. Chunywa ne gombo lakini wan ne ok wanyal timo ka ok wayudo chik. Omiyo kanwa wache to chik no already joka kabene nigi paro no ni gini ber mondo wapare baba e yo makende ahinya. Omiyo kanwa wapare to chik be no donje. En gima no riw kanyakla. Erokamano, wabedo godo chieng' maber, baba Mashujaa, jaluo mora mora, gimora mora mitimo, yo mora mora mitime, time yo makende nikech mane yo mwagero go Kenya, yo mwagero go luowa, wan Mashujaa wate. Erokamano.
Joyce, mano achiel kuom jogo mane ochopo e nyasi mar Mashujaa Day, ne en achiel kuom jopuonj mag nyithindo mane miyo ji mor odiochieng' ma kawuono, kendo ne giloso kido mar mosenindo Raila Amolo Odinga kayo mar dhiale e nyasi ma kawuono mar Mashujaa. Koro mago kod mage matimore e kaunti ma Kitui, ang'e ni mathoth to wabiro miyo joneno magwa e weche mago manyien ma sa achiel kod sa adek. Kok e kaunti ma Kitui, waduoke achiel kachiel nyaka kaunti ma Nairobi. Joyce Oduor. Joyce.
Kamana inya Chris Owino ka intiere e alap mano ma Ithokwe Stadium ma yudore kaunti ma Kitui kama nyasi mar Mashujaa Day ma higa mar 2025 sani koro oserumo ayanga. Nyakora Mugejwang' winjo kanyo ka japinya en bende ochiwo mogo kuom geno mane gintiere godo kendo jiwo jopiny wetege ne nyenya to kokalo yor yudo thieth makare. Ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto oseyango ni nitiere chenro mar neno ni jopiny yudo thieth makare buo universal health coverage obedo makare, to ojiwo jopiny mar mondo mi omed ndikore buo okumba mar thieth mano mar SHA. Kaachiel kod weche mamoko mabende wang'eyo ni jatend piny Kenya William Ruto nowacho e kinde nyasi mar Mashujaa Day ma higa ni mano bagi e kaunti ma Kitui. To bende pod antiere kae kod Wilberforce Otieno. Wilberforce, kapok ne wadhir Chris e kaunti ma Kitui kono, apiny kachako tudore kod wechego mago mag neno ni wabedo kod chiemo ma orome pacho kae. Jatend piny Kenya William Ruto yango kanyo ni nitiere chenro chenro mano mar keto chenro mar kuoyo pi e puothe, mano miluongo kanyo kod dho ngere ni irrigation, kaachiel kod neno kaka wanyalo dongore kata wanyalo timo pur e yor lony manyasani. Mano inyalo tim e yo machalo nade mar mondo mi piny Kenya owere kod tim mano mar ahinya golo chiemo e pinje maoko kwakele pacho kae. To adiera wantiere kod puothe mathoth ahinya e pacho ka, ma kokuone gi pi makare to anyalo nyayo chiemo moromo e pacho kae.
Joyce, kero wuoyo maber mana kaka waduto wayie kowuok gima Kristo wacho, Bwana man winjo wuoyo gono. Agriculture is devolved generally to policy making process timore mana from the ministry. Koro nyiso ni ka kero wuoyo to nyako work in partnership with the county governors mondo gi implement gima wacho machalo kaka irrigation. Koro ere kaka ma idhi tim? Ma inyalo tim mana kaluwore gi lwasi maber mar siasa. Kiparo mana kaka waduto wasebedo kwa wacho, en ni mondo gigi duto tim, en ni nyaka jotelo duto bi kanyakla. Weche iloso ka ji obedo piny to wuoyo. Koro as much as ni owache, implementation nyaka team through consultative gi partnership with the county government, nikech gigo generally they are devolved. Koro mondo time en ni makoro, in other words, rais wacho ni governors manyo wayiero ka kidhi Migori nyaka koro governor Ochila yako through the Ministry of Agriculture implement gi. Niparo kane gi chako irrigation moro Nyatike kucha ma osebedo for long kapok otieke. Koro mage gik makoro leaders wa and most of the governors and their executive officers nyaka koro fast track, nyaka koro gilu chenro gi eki magi ket, nikech generally piny kamora mora kata mana in a small unit kaka ot, ka chiemo onge to ji onge ng'amor. In other words, kata mana Kenya mondo wa prosper, en ni nyaka chiemo bedi, to ka chiemo bedo through gik minjo ka rais wacho machalo irrigation go. Koro en ni as much as ne en devolved to governors, en ni koro nyaka gibed in partnership mondo gi make sure ni implementation mar gino timre nade otim. Koro en gima nyaka team through consultation and partnership gi governors. Yes.
To bende jatend piny Kenya William Ruto wacho kanya yo makare ne mar mondo mi bende wabed kod pi moromo. Chiwo ranyisi ne gwenge go mago mag Ukambani ma oriwo nyaka kaunti ma Kitui. Gin moko kuom gwenge ma wacho ni gin gwenge motuo kendo kinde mathoth gintiere kod nok mano mar pi makare kata pi malera. Oyango kanyo chenro mano mar gero dams mago 50 to ken mana e kaunti ma Kitui kende. Wacho ni dams makamagi bo bed ka igero e gwenge mopogore opogore e pacho kae mar mondo mi otieka ne nok mar pi ma jopiny kinde ka kinde bedo godo. E kaunti ma Kitui ochiwo ranyisi mano Thwake dam kaachiel kod Uma dam, wacho ni ibo bed ka itieko ger kendo chiwo timeline. Mipa ni mano gin gik ma jatend piny osingo ni kochopo higa manyien to jo Kitui seche moko nyalo bedo kod mor ni yes koro ero sechopnwa singo. Bende wacho kanya ni jo Kitui kinde mathoth kaluwore kod siasa marach mosebedo ka gore pacho kae, gisebedo ka gidong' chien kendo koro osingo ni ibo bed ka gibedo iketogi kata inywakogi ahinya te mesa mar wechego mag dongruok.
Gima jatend piny wacho adieri, nikech kiparo Thwake dam ok en gimo chak ger nyoro. In fact no chak ger tend former president Uhuru Kenyatta. Nyiso ni poor governance gigi duto te mondo otimre nyaka bed gi lwase maber mar siasa. Sama lwase maber mar siasa no bete ga gik machalo Thwake dam go nyalo rumo. Gigi duto te ok nyal rumo ka president dwano timgi to onge gi support mar locals, onge gi goodwill, political goodwill. Iparo ka koro kata kaka koro Kitui kama wache Thwake dam awinjo kuwuoyo kuom gik mang'eny machalo even stadium Machakos, Makueni, dams even out of Ukambani. Gigi duto nyaka tim mana through partnership, nyaka tim gi mana through consultations mag local politicians around gi pesa kanitiere. Awinjo ko wacho ni pesa nyo beto chendo matindo sani koro sebet.
Owacho kanyo ni nitiere bilion 9 mibo bed ka itieko godo Thwake Dam, tibo bed ka itieke dwe mar 4 kata dwe mar 5 mano higa manyien.
Yeah, koro mana gima nyisi no. Good leadership nyiso ni local leaders ma Thwake Dam nyaka koro man ingen gini koro kaka president osawacho ni ok time office of the president, itime through ministries of water, through Ministry of Agriculture. Winjo ko luongo CS moro kacha winjo chir ko nyiso wach stima. Nyiso ni koro local leaders ma kama that dam nitie. Ema koro dhi through ministries and even through governors ka gin gik mochulo ochuno governors, even agriculture. Koro yudo ka framework mar policy implementation koro nyaka tim gi through elected representatives, through MPs, through governors, and even through woman rep and the rest of the elected members man kanyoero. Koro mondo gigi duto te team Joyce implementation wacho to berndi nikech Thwake Dam no se wacho for many years, in fact the 10 to 12 years. Mondo gigi team nyiso ni good leadership, political goodwill gi follow ups. Yudo ka samoro local politicians moyiergo iko tamore timo follow ups. Koro mondo gigi duto tim, obed gero dam, obed loso stima, obed gero stadiums miwinjo ko wacho both Machakos and Makueni, gigi duto nyaka tim, nyaka bed gi political goodwill, nikech in most cases joma timo gigi gin ma jo siasa go through policy implementers. Koro good political will is the key. Mane yo minyalo yaogo maendeleo. Mane momiyo iwinjo ka reference Ruto timo mang'eny ahinya in almost 3/4 of his policies through the speeches. Ni baba nyo nyisa kama nyiso ni political goodwill nyo favor rais mondo otim implementation. Mane miwinjo ka nyisi kata ni ka koridok thurwa energy manyo itimo seacha nyo time haraka kendo nyo ineno kodhi piyo nikech locals and political goodwill makocha nyo favor go. Koro mondo gigi duto tim en ni nyaka koro wabed gi mana gima na wacho mokwongo cha, nyaka koro wabed gi lokruok mar paro mondo dongruok obedi. Siasa mar dongruok bedo maber maloyo siasa mar dondruok. Ji osebedo ka dondore mono gi yudo siasa mag dongruok. Koro mane momiyo kata bwana ma iwinjo ka wuocha wacho ni nyaka koro sani watamre siasa mag dondruok, wa embrace siasa mag dongruok mondo programs miwinjo sirikal nigogi obed implemented. Ka tieko iwinjo ka rais owacho kata weche mag youth. Ayie gi gima kawuono rais wacho en ni ok owinjo we sekta moro piny, sectors duto te owinjo dhi together. Mane momiwinjo ko wacho ni gidwa kelo programs kata ne youth. Koro nakwayo kata oganda wa mag Luo mae sama koro waweyo luwo jo siasa gi gonya gi yuko jamna. Mae sama koro wadhi e Facebook awinjo ko wacho wach moro kacha ni koro wadhi e simbwa to waket data to apply.
Mano kokale chenro mar nyota nikech wang'eyo ni jopiny osebedo ka ndikore kata rawere manitiere kind higni 18 nyaka higni 29 to mago manitiere kod ng'ola ne omi thuolo nyaka higni 35 mar mondo mi ondikre e bwo chenro mar nyota. Ka bende wacho kanyo ni rowere madirom 90,000 ibo bed ka itiego courses mopogore opogore ma ginyalo timo mar mondo mi rawera obeda ne gi gimoro e lwete. Mano nyalo konya inyanya to e yo machalo nade itieko nok mag tije kaachiel kod rawere madirom 100,000 ma ibo bed ka itimo negi verification kata inonogi kochakore chieng' tich abich mano mar jumani, kaeto ibo bed kimiyogi 50,000 moro ka moro. Mago rowere matimo ohelni matindo mar jiwo ohelni mekgi. Wilberforce
gimara jatend piny temo timo number 1 samo engage youth, ogologie timbe mag njore e kor gweng' kamora mora nikech nyota program no mostly idhi time e gwenge kocha. Koro nyiso ni odwano mondo stabilize security nyaka ket youth bed engaged. samoketo gi empowerment awinjo ko wacho ni nitie jomoko ma oko gi kata form 4 koro jogi bedo verified ipuonjo gi plumbing ipuonjo gi loso gik matindo tindo welding and the rest magi programs ma koro kama Wilberforce obede dwaro no winji sani koro ka dwaro winjo youth mora ahinya ma winjo dhok mawacho ni pod odhi luwo bang' jasiasa ni gonywa wadwa lawe wanawa gianyo ji e social media sani koro sama koro idhi kar kao data ni dwa yanyogo ng'at moro ma jasiasa ni itiyo kodi mai sama koro kata ng'ama nyoko gike form 4 cha mai sama koro apply kido shilingi 50,000 through Nyota program idhigo kata koduogo center wa Mamwalo North Kanyamkago iloso kari moro mar lielo kata ji mago programs makelo dongruok Josi winja mage programs makoro winjo bed ni jowa ringo godo maka gik mbele kucho to koro giwacho ni to sirikal mar broad base ni nyo konyo jothurwa gang'o nyaka koro wabed joma riore gi opportunities ma wayudo through this government mondo lok ngima wa gimichaki penja ni to kupogore gi weche mag insecurity gi engagement mag youth in this program gini konyo wa kendang'o gini miyo ji bedo empowered seche ma joko bedo empowered otere ng'ato dhi puonjore welding ng'ato puonjore program mag plumber ng'ato puonjore loso wich koro yudo ka ng'ani self employed gima rais temo wacho en ni kawuono jomindiko tije bedo matin koro wa embrace mondo ng'ato ka ng'ato opuonjore tich mare mar lwedo tij lwedo ni program ni aneno ka dhi bedo program maber kabisa to koro nakwayo kata mana elected leaders mondo offer gimiluongo ni civic education ne youth kar goyo ne youth simu ni mondo bi olaw ni ng'ate media kata WhatsApp group sani koro jotelo ma wan go kanda madwaro kata moseyier owinjo bed ni konyo youth even team application ma kata ka youth moro go ni simu ni jatelo miya data owinjo bed ni miye data ma odhi apply go gicha oko winjo bed ni miye data mar dhi anyo ng'ato e mbui koro akwayo youth wa kamora mora magintie ni programs gi ema koro dhi loko ngima wa 200,000 moko ma josesa oronwa ka ok dhi loko ngima wa lakini ki register tiyudo this program ichako welding ni moro ichako kinyozi ni moro ichako uso samosa gi gik matindo go biro loko ngima ni koro itimo gima ne wawacho cha ni gimitimo pile pile samitiyo matek titiye pile pile gino biro loko ngima ni kata kipenjo jomane jo ala madongo ma wan ge piny luo kata Kenya mangima gibiro manyisi ni gima nolo omiyo business na ni olosore eni natime pile pile koro time pile pile no mi gimiluongo ni brand samise bedo gi brand to koro in ng'at ma jite in koro kimanji samise bedo brand ne mimanyi koro programs mawinjo ka jatend piny wacho gi magi gik malo miyo ji bedo shujaa
wach ni mogik ka watieko Wilberforce
wach na mogik en adwa kwayo jothurwa pod waywak kata rais winjo ko wacho ni pod waywago Raila Amolo Odinga akwayowa mondo wae mbui gi weche mang'eny kia kingpin kia ang'o mago gik mokonywa we waywagi wao chuny jowa nitiere jomanyo chunygi ni kuom Raila saidi koro ipoki bayo ne wach moro moko dhi kare nyalo chwanye in one way or the other koro adwaro ni jowo bed sober mondo wa reflect sani en gimodong' en ni wa reflect ni what is next for Onagi erokamano Joyce
erokamano inya Wilberforce Otieno kuom kawo thuolo mari odiochieng' ma kawuono mar mondo mi bi waporo wach kotudore kod odiochieng' ma idhialo thuondi mopogore opogore e pacho kanya kwa Ramogi Ajwang' imbe nagoni erokamano ahinya kuom bedo kodwa nyaka ne wachak chenro saa 2 mar okinyi sani kanya nodong' dakika 20 mar mondo mi ochop saa 8 mar odiochieng' pod wamedo mana dhialo thuondi duto mwantiere godo e pacho kae happy Mashujaa Day kaachiel kod thuondi mawuok e counties mopogore opogore ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto odiochieng' ma kawuono bro bedo kamiyo mecha kaachiel kod thuon marwa mane wadhialo odiochieng' ma kawuono ma bende obedo kuku mano mar Mashujaa Mashujaa Day mahigani mano mosenindo Prime Minister machon Raila Odinga ma jatend piny Kenya William Ruto omiyo mich kata osimbo mano chief of the Order of the Golden Heart maino simbo mano mar first class e pacho kae. Nyakwara Ramogi Juang wakwayo ni mar mondo mi bed kod odiochieng' maber nyakendwa Roma odiochieng' makiny oriti masani nyinga Joyce Oduor.